I keep hitting a raw nerve. For years, people have come up to me and said, "Thank you for that interview. What you've done is amazing. I'm telling my friends, thank you for finally saying that out loud." And other people say, "You can't say that. That doesn't exist. That's not right." Everyone has an opinion. What I could say, should say, how I should say it, even preparing for this talk. And I realized what is happening to me right now is exactly what my talk is about. The best advice, someone said, just don't listen to anyone, say what you want. So I'm Inese Liepiņa, and my talk is about not stopping yourself and not letting anyone stop you. Don't worry what other people think about you. You need to worry what you think about yourself. Do what you love and inspire others. The world is waiting. We live in a global economy. This has never before existed. Don't stop yourself from participating. We can connect across time zones, languages, continents. We're still trying to figure out how to deal with it, especially when this global economy crashes. I was born in Chicago. My parents were Latvian refugees, and I had just moved to live in Riga, Latvia when this crash happened. In Chicago, I had been a fashion designer and knitwear designer in San Francisco also, and now I had to figure out, how do I make a living in Riga? So I remembered these knits I had done in Chicago after college. A friend convinced me to make scarves that are connected into a Mobius, and you can't lose them. And I thought, well, I might as well make them so that twice they fit around your neck. And at a sample sale, a woman comes up to me and says, "Is this how you wear it?" And I said, "Yeah." "How'd you do that?" "I had no idea you could do that. I would have never thought of that." And I sold thousands of these in Chicago. That was 30 years ago. Now I needed to somehow update this. So I came up with this, and I thought, well, if this measurement is twice what it is around your neck, it'll work the same. And I started showing these in Riga. And first of all the women said, "You can't do that, Latvian women knit." But if I do original colors, everyone's different. And if I can't copy myself, I'm not really worried about that. But showing them and selling them in Riga, all the Latvian women said, "Where did you see that? Who'd you copy that from?" All the German, Swedish, American women said, "I've never seen anything like that. That's so original." And I was stunned. Why is it always Latvians who find the concept of original design incomprehensible? And coming up with an idea is easy. It's not always me. I was asked by a chef to make something for his outdoor cafe. So this is what we came up with, and I decided that I need this for the chair where I read books all winter. I really need this. And it's kind of amazing how ideas evolve. 30 years ago, a random woman asked me a simple question at a sample sale, and this turned into a career. And now a chef asked me another question, and it went up a few notches. Don't stop yourself from hearing. Ideas are everywhere, and it's not just the experts that have them. Originality is your interpretation of everything that's around you. And I still wanted to address the issue of originality with Latvians. How do I get people to think? So I thought, what do I need? I got sick of coming home with crushed groceries, so I invented this little bird. It has a little reflector tail, and then you open it up, and you get if I can open it up, you get a bag. And it has two sections for heavy things on the bottom. And then it has, on the top, a middle section for crushables. So there's an upper pocket, and that's where you put your bananas, your strawberries, all the crushable things. And the most amazing thing about it is this little D with the circle. I actually registered this with the Latvian Patent Office. So if someone copies me, I can call the police and have their goods confiscated. But that's not the point. The point is to get people to think, to say, it was a lot of work to come up with this. You need to come up with your own idea and make it better than mine. And it actually worked, because now women see this and they say, the ideas people come up with. And that's positive. So it's okay to be first. It's just a lot harder. It's a lot more work because I'm constantly explaining this. People ask, why does it cost twice as much? Well, it's 2 bags. I have to pay someone to sew 2 bags. She wants to be paid. And I get sick of having to explain it. And I think, like, why do I keep inventing things? Why don't I just do the same thing, because then I don't have to explain it? Don't hold yourself back. Try it. I have been asked to copy at work, and my initial reaction is to be completely insulted that my boss assumes I can't come up with a better idea. Does anyone else have this reaction? Or do you just say, oh, good, easy day, all I do is copy, go home early, woo? Or do you have kind of both days? This first bed, a store wanted it, and I was told to copy it, but not exactly, because we don't have the copyright. So I didn't like the flowers, and I thought the stripes were silly, so I didn't even look at it. That's what I drew. Completely different flowers. I put blue in the stripes so it's more sophisticated. I even changed the color. And as a result, the store said, we like yours better than the original. That's the point. And I am what I am because I had the opportunity to study at the School of the Art Institute in Chicago. I graduated in 1981, and it's always been ranked one of the number 2 or 3 art school in the US and around the top 10 internationally. And my education was different than just about any college or university in the United States or in the world. It was an extremely difficult school to get in, but once you got in, we had no grades. Everything was pass-fail. We had no tests, no exams. You didn't have to declare a major. You could take any class you wanted. The policy was that the teacher's personal style and taste should have no influence whatsoever on the development of the student as an artist. They told us, make something that has never been made, and if you don't make it, it will never exist. Or what's the point? Once or twice a semester, we had critiques where all the students would put their work out for display, and the students, together with the teacher, would explain, defend, criticize each other. It was brutal, but it was also wonderful. I took classes in anything I thought could be fun. I made this ring when I was about 19. I'm still not sick of it. I still haven't seen another one. I learned to weld steel, ceramics, woodshop, weaving. I had a history of the blues class, mathematics of symmetry, Tai Chi. My goal was to never be limited in my artwork by not knowing how to make it. 10 years later, I had the opportunity to study glass blowing. I did not stop myself. I didn't say, I'm over 30, it's too late. And I know a lot of people say, if you spread yourself thin, you end up not being good at anything. You know a lot, but not a lot of any one particular field. But then, what about people like Leonardo da Vinci? He was an architect, an inventor, a scientist, not to mention the Mona Lisa. And why shouldn't I aim for that? Because if I aim high, at least I might get there. Don't be afraid to try. Fear paralyzes. The more often you intentionally do something you're afraid of, the faster you can get over the fear. I have this irrational fear of things in water. The lake by the summer camp where I went to as a kid, it had fish that bit and leeches and seaweed that wrapped around your ankles. So I knew when I was going to go to Mexico or to Hawaii and I'd be able to snorkel that I needed to get over this. So I went to the swimming pool and I swam laps. And in Hawaii, I was in knee-deep water snorkeling. And there's 20 little fish on one side, okay, 20 little fish on the other side. And then there's 20 fish below me, and I'm in knee-deep water, and I absolutely panicked. I ran out. Now I knew a couple years later I would go to Mexico, I'd be able to go snorkeling again. So I went back to the swimming pool and I was swimming laps and I was telling myself, this is just like the ocean. This is just like the ocean. And look at the pretty sunlight and the blue color and the reflections. And then when I got to Mexico, I jumped in fast. I didn't give myself time to think, and I said, this is just like the swimming pool. This is just like the swimming pool. And look at the pretty green seaweed. It's like this magic forest, and if I was a little fish swimming through it, it would be so much fun. And the one witness to my panic in Hawaii, he was hesitant to get too far away from me. But I kept going a little further. It's like, okay, this is okay. I'm still okay. And then back on the boat, we were both shocked that it was okay. I did fine. Now, brown, murky water that's in Latvia is not okay. I go on canoe trips and I look at it and it's not a pretty color and I can't see the bottom and I don't know what's down there and I don't want to go swimming. But I know if I had the opportunity to spend a summer by a lake like that, I would make it okay. I have the tools, I've done it before, I can do it again. I would not stop myself from at least trying. 1977 was the first time I came to Latvia, and at the time it was very much a Soviet state. I visited the Art Academy, and they told me about the strict rules, theory, how they copy, analyze, reproduce masters, and then in the third or fourth year, you do an original work. And I was confused. I thought, well, how do you even remember who you are at that point? And Latvia has the most amazingly talented artists, and I always wonder how much more original they would be had they not lost that crucial time looking at others instead of developing themselves. And what about the ones that don't get out of that box of rules, who are so crushed they never leave? Parents, teachers. If you have a child that is so unique, that is way different from the rest of them, don't stop them. Nurture them. Give them wings and let them fly. Things, I know, have changed drastically since 1977, but I still get into heated discussions with Latvian artists who insist you cannot be an artist if you do not have a very strict upbringing and you know the rules and you need to be able to draw a person to within 1 millimeter. And I've actually once unintentionally insulted an artist because I said, well, that's medical illustration, that's not art. And if rules are so important, why is the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, it's 140 years old, and they let you discover the rules for yourself? Why is it consistently ranked one of the top 10 in the world, when if it was ranked as far as rules go, it would be on the bottom? I never studied color theory. I learned to experiment and to maybe make up new rules. And is it art? Well, if these same colors and stripes were oil on canvas, it would be compared to Rothko. Because I choose to use textiles, take a 0 off the price, it's less serious. Because I choose to use textiles that can be worn, it's not considered art. But I've sold to 23 countries on the internet. People buy my colors, they don't buy the knits. And I get letters from all over the world saying, this is artwork, you are an artist. And I can live with that. And I never had a knitting class, and actually having a career in what you studied seems less and less possible these days. You need to learn and to teach to think outside the box of rules. 15 years ago, I had a knitwear design job in San Francisco, and the warehouse across the street got completely remodeled, palm trees planted in front, and one day, there's hundreds of people working there. So I said, well, what do you do? They said, well, we're scanning everything and we're putting it on the internet. And I knew what the internet was because I was emailing my colleagues in China. I was faxing drawings because attachments hadn't been invented yet. And I said, so what do you mean? You're going in the library, you're starting at one end and scanning all the books? And they said, yeah, and then we're scanning any photograph or any document, anything we can find, so that if anyone ever wants to find any information, it will be on the internet. And I thought, well, that's really stupid. My computer's this big. I can't lift it. I can't put it in my pocket and carry it around. Now, I can't imagine life without that. Try meeting all your friends for lunch without the use of a smartphone. And it's just mind-boggling that somebody thought of this before it had existed. Today, Anders Ambein's talked, and he is programming quantum computers, and quantum computers don't exist. He's not holding himself back. He's not stopping himself. So if you follow the rules and you don't see beyond the borders, you limit your ability to keep up with how fast the world is spinning. Sometimes it's necessary to follow the rules. Driving a car. How many of us follow the rules driving a car? Okay, the world's not black and white. It's subtle shades in many colors and not just gray. Let me say that again. The world is not black and white. It's subtle shades in many colors, not just gray. Thank you.